So anyone who knows me knows that I really like to make lists. So, I'm gonna make a list of. I've already made the list of my top 10 games from before 2017, and I'm gonna have rum while I do it because who said anything was wrong about drinking at 12:38 in the afternoon? Something I'm not at all a fan of is top-down games. Like things like action games or like MOBA games or RTS games. I don't like any of them. I feel like there isn't enough weight and I feel like nothing is impactful and it tends to feel pretty slow-paced. In Hotline Miami though, everything is full speed ahead, goddamn psychedelic, non-stop panic. It's colorful, it's gory, it's fast, and your attacks really feel like they do something. There's a lot of weight behind it. It's a short game, but it's memorable, it's replayable, and it gives you a lot of ways to approach each mission. Most importantly though, it's fun as hell. Ori and the Blind Forest was the first time I ever got emotional over a video game soundtrack. I love soundtracks, and if a game has good music, I will enjoy it 100 times more. On top of its soundtrack though, it's just such a solid game. It controls so smoothly, it's beautiful, and Ori is absolutely adorable. Ori has a very touching story, and paired with the score and the world, it creates a completely unforgettable experience. Anybody guess what my favorite racing game for the Nintendo 64 is? Probably the one with some of the tightest controls and difficulty. When I was younger, this game was the shit, and it would still be the shit if my Nintendo 64 still worked. Game is fantastic at making you feel fast. It makes you feel like you're in an intense race, and it really captures the essence of speed. I feel like this opinion might be a little less popular, but the story in Mystery Dungeon games is something that well surpasses anything I expected from a Pokemon game. It's got one of those stories where it just seems like the entire world is working against the character who just wants to do good and help. It's like watching Les Mis, except with Pokemon, and not a musical and about disasters with time travel, and just not like Les Mis at all. The music is pretty good though. Honey Pop. I mean, just fucking honey. Just look at this. Super Mario 64 was one of the first games I ever played, and it holds up. Better than most games. If you ask me to name a classic, this is going to be the first game that comes to mind. It's the most memorable game from my younger years, and easily the one that I have the fondest memories of. I think it might even be the first video game I ever played, but that could also be Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I think. For my fourth favorite game, we can simply take the word Fallout and put it in front of the 4. And then we can change that 4 to a 3. Fallout 3 was the first Bethesda game I played, and it's the one that stuck with me the most. Fallout 4, it had better combat, and, Fallout New Vegas had a better story. But I had the most fun with Fallout 3. Easily. There's so much exploration to be done, and I like the locations a lot more than either of the newer games. They all feel very different from each other. Well, for the most part. Honestly though, the best part is how easy it is to absolutely break the game, and how you can just do literally anything you want if you have the stealth suit, or if you use a stealth boy. There's seemingly underplanned mechanics all over the place that can be so easily exploited. Also this.
Oh, well, I was hoping for a fight.
The way Undertale presents itself is like this tiny little game that you can get through in one sitting, and the hype, it got to the point where it was so overhyped that I was nervous to touch it. Once I picked it up though, I finally understood what the hype was about. Undertale makes you care about it. It presents this world and this character that you have no backstory on, and right off the bat, you meet two incredibly memorable characters, and then another, and then another, and then another, and by the time you're halfway through the game, you're in love. The soundtrack in Undertale is massive, yet all the songs have elements of another song, and it really makes you feel like the whole world is connected. Each character has their own music that just adds to the memorability of every character. The game rewards kindness with a deeper story, and it rewards violence with power. Through your first playthrough, you learn the balance of that, and then you go through again, where you don't harm a single thing, and then you get your good ending and everything's nice, and then you go through again, and then you stop and you uninstall the game. Audio Surf is my happy place. It's a meditation for me, and I can play it and I can space out completely. When I play Audio Surf, I am the most relaxed. If you ask any of my friends what game has the best soundtrack, they'll probably tell you Audio Surf, because they're all fucking hilarious people. Ha! In my favorite game, you play as an amnesiac who has to save bunnies from a man with a silly hat. Cave Story is very similar to Undertale, in the way that it keeps this adorableness about it, while having a more serious tone to its story. And the name is even the exact same thing, pretty much. Aside from all the great characters and the touching story and the responsive handling and the creative level design, it also comes with a fantastic soundtrack of its own. It's probably one of the most memorable soundtracks that I remember. I guess that would make it memorable. The game is anything but a walk in the park though, and I'd recommend arriving to this experience triple prepared. One for the game, one for the emotion, and one for good luck. It's hard.